introduce yourself and say hi. I just want to make sure you can hear me and see me. It is nice to be here with you. Thank you. I'm very excited to share this presentation with you today. I have a lot of information, and I also want to just begin with something that I know is challenging, but that is positive focus. And what I want to do is, first of all, I need to bring in my team here and let you know that I've got a whole bunch of amazing people on my team. I'm going to give them a shout out right now. So I have Lori Hull, my executive assistant of going on 13 years, who's here. I want to thank her for just getting things prepared. I also have Marisa Brassfield, who's here, Nikki and Charleston and Alexandra are here, and they are going to be answering questions and taking care of you. I will also just make sure I can see you in chat as well. So, and for my team, Lori, you're going to have to handle that last request that you had because I don't know how to get at it right now, to tell you the truth. But I also want to welcome Scott Mueller's here. I have definitely going to have him on for a hot seat. If you applied for a hot seat, my team members are going to be able to bring you in a little while. So I'll find you. And let's see if there's anything else big. Well, again, if you haven't done it already, make sure you introduce yourself in chat. Tell me who you are, where you live, and the best way to get things going here is to begin with a positive focus. It's something I learned from my good friend, podcast host, Dan Sullivan. And the whole idea is if you just settle in for a moment, and I know these are challenging times, but what is going on right now that is great and positive that you are looking forward to right now? And if you'd please type that into chat, I think it's a great way to just get us all synchronized and in a positive state. So, and God, we got people from all over the world. We've got India, Colombia, Chicago, London. This is amazing. UK, Australia. This is beautiful. Really, really impressed and happy to have you here. Calgary, Joey, nice to see you as well. So Ben Farmer, I see you as well. Connie's here. So beautiful. And Dr. Emma Jean. Wow, what an amazing lineup. So hopefully, Lori, you can help with getting the team in to coordinate with chat. And I will get the show on the road. Lots of material. I think the best way to begin today is, and again, I want to establish this. First of all, my heart goes out to anyone who's been affected by everything that's going on worldwide. My heart goes out to you and your family and any circumstance you have. My objective today is to give you a toolkit, some resources, a sense of hope, and also to frame this in a way which is, I have a philosophical belief, and I'm going to get a little woo-woo on you right away, and just let you know that I believe that the world is going through an unbelievable, unprecedented moment in all of human history. And for decades, we've been walking around and participating in a grand illusion. And part of that grand illusion is, if you think about it, there are phantasms and ghosts that we choose to participate in every single day, getting up, going to work, and moving around. And this circumstance that is happening worldwide is going to completely redefine who we are as human beings, because when we emerge, I guess you could think of it like a chrysalis or a butterfly. What I imagine is happening and will happen is everything that already was extinct will simply not re-emerge. And at the same time, those who see things with clarity and vision and operate with a high degree of integrity and leadership, heroes are going to be created and fortunes will be made. And you have an opportunity right now. The only thing you can control is how you think and how you interpret what's going on and what you do with that. And again, I'm not trying to take away anything from the challenges that exist in the world today, except we have no choice but to move forward and to take care of ourselves. So what I have for you today are best practices that I'm going to share with you. And with that, I'm going to bring up my screen and just tell you exactly what to expect. So again, if you haven't already taken a look here, I'm going to bring up my display. And this is what you can expect. So number one, I have cool technology I'm going to share with you. Next, pivot and virtualize. We're going to talk about how you can pivot and virtualize. New ways of getting attention in the world today. And also, I'm going to talk a little bit about impact and giving back. Right now, there are more challenges that are unbelievable. They're emerging all the time. And how we behave right now and how we give, even when it is difficult, even when every part of you is screaming, how am I and how's my family going to get through this? And then I'm going to talk about premium offers and how to reinvent yourself during this challenging time. I'm going to give you a few case studies, some reinvention case studies, and then I'm going to bring in some hot seats and Q&A. So again, if you have requested this to be on a hot seat and filled out the application, my assistant and I have reviewed those, and I'll bring on a couple people. So let's begin with cool technology. And this also ties into the pivoting and virtualization. So I don't know, raise your hand and let me know, first of all, if you are using Zoom and attending an unprecedented number of Zoom meetings. And if that's the case, also let me know if you have attended or have seen rather my Zoom video. I put out a video. It's on YouTube. And in fact, I will display that for you right now. Let me bring it up. There they are. This is a video that I published, and I just sat down. I saw I had been attending so many Zoom meetings, and a ton of them are just horrible. In my experience, people have bad lighting, bad sound, bad video. They don't know how to behave, or their team members show up and are simply not brand representative. And so I took the top 25 strategies, including some technology recommendations. I made a video, published it on YouTube, and it got picked up by a lot of folks. I've gotten requests as a result of that, but also been able to repurpose it in many, many ways. So the video, if you click on the link, it'll open up in a separate window. I would ask you, if you know anyone who's doing Zoom meetings, share this with them because it will absolutely make them better. So here's another tip. If you're using Zoom and you go under your preferences, click on the video, there is a little checkbox. You'll see it on the screen. It says touch up my appearance. This will give you the equivalent of a digital facelift. And you'll look so much more attractive. And people are going to be like, wow, what happened to you? Why do you look so young? That's inside Zoom. So really, really powerful function that's built into Zoom, make you look great. Another one, this is a huge mistake I see made all the time. I call it crotch cam. If you're one of those people who has your laptop in your crotch and you're trying to make a presentation or you're looking down, guess what? It makes you look fat and old. All right. So don't do that. Next, get a ring light. You can get these on Amazon. Just go on there, search for ring light. And I usually get whatever Amazon's choice is. But lighting your face makes a massive difference. And if you look better on camera, people will trust you more. Next one. This is a great tool. It is called crisp.ai. Another, and I'll pop this up. Let me find it for you here. I actually created a link for you. There. How's that? This tool will get rid of noise. So if you have dogs barking, babies crying, etc., it's an artificial intelligence enhanced app. And all you do is install it in your system. It's super cheap, works like a charm. So great tool. That's crisp.ai. Now I'm going to show you something else that is super cool. It is an app that's called Air Squirrels. It's Reflector, actually. And if someone would type that domain name into chat, because I'm going to move on and share another part of my screen right now. Again, it's airsquirrels.com/reflector. All right. So let me share this screen. I'm going to bring up this tool, and this is a great way. If you have an iPad, do you have an iPad? Let me know. So I'm sharing my iPad right now and grabbing my little pencil, and I'm going to take notes. So here's my iPad, and I'll say, welcome to the webinar. All right. And I can do highlights like that. I can scroll back and forth and take all kinds of notes. But if you want a really cool tool for taking notes, giving them, I can bring up different colors. So if I want to do a blue box and draw an arrow and a smiley face. But again, what's important about this is just being able to virtualize your business. Again, this is Air Squirrels. The other thing that you can do is you can hide, you can go into presentation mode. So all you see is my screen and not the tools. Again, and it's a really, really affordable, cheap product, and that is Air Squirrels Reflector. Really, really nice app, easy to use, and it works on Windows and on Mac. Next up, again, this is the video that I talked about, which is, I'll put this up one more time for you, and that is the 25 meeting strategies right there. So again, what inside this video that I made, there are 25 strategies like the ones I shared with you. And I'm going to also tell you more about why this is valuable, because I'm really trying to give you a usable and resourceful lesson here. Next up, there's another tool that I've been using. It's called Ecamm Live. And if you've ever wanted to share multiple screens or monitors, or do interviews with up to 4 or 5 Skype guests, or you'd like to inject or send videos down so people can watch them, this is an amazing tool. And what I did is I made a little mini video for you right now so that you can actually see this in motion. It's just a couple minutes long, and there's no better way to talk about a tool than to demonstrate it. So here it is. Zoom meetings, Zoom webinars, absolutely awesome. But you have some limitations in terms of the quality of the production and the control that you have. I'm going to share with you an application that I've been using that has completely changed the quality of Zoom meetings and webinars I have been producing. In fact, what I'm about to share with you will work with anything that uses a webcam. The software is called Ecamm, and what it is, or Ecamm Live. Well, it looks like that didn't continue working. So anyway, I'll make sure that we put that link inside chat. But again, what this tool does for you is enables you to share multiple monitors, multiple screens. You can do multiple cameras, and you can also broadcast to Facebook Live to YouTube Live, and it's super, super cheap. Great tool, super handy. All right, next up, what do we have here? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share my screen again. Oh, getting attention. So I want to spend a little bit of time because, again, inside this world of virtualization and also what I consider the new normal, I'm leading up to making several points. I want to talk about the importance of how you position and package yourself right now. Now, know that in our current environment, we live in an increasingly noisy world. Internet usage has gone up. Consumption of every service like Zoom, like webinars, every online service is being taxed to the limits, and fewer people are going outside. That's an obvious thing. The question is, how are you going to position yourself both now and moving forward? Because eventually things will return to a new normal. There's no question about that. But people are going to be consuming differently. They're going to be buying differently. One thing I know with absolute certainty is there's an enormous number of businesses where all their employees are going back, they're working at home, and we're not going to return to the way things used to be. So making sure that you are right now increasing and improving your capabilities of positioning and packaging yourself, creating new offers, and also finding new ways to market and enroll your clients is critically important. One of the people I'm going to bring on a little while, his name is Scott Mueller. He runs a funeral home. I'm going to bring him on as a hot seat in a little while, and I'm going to share with him an idea that popped up during a little masterminding session I had with my wife this morning, Vivian. And how to position and frame. Now, I'm telling you this because right now, the question to ask yourself is, how can you share a story or an idea in the fewest number of words where someone has a moment where they go, you are exactly who I've been looking for. You're exactly what I need right now. And being able to create a constant reminder for that. So the story I'm going to share with you right now is how I took that little video, there's 25 ways to make your Zoom meetings and webinars awesome, and how that's actually created an avalanche of opportunities. So what did I do? One of them is I solved a problem that I saw on an ongoing basis. Lots of people showing up for online meetings, looking and sounding horrible, and them being what I thought was a total waste of time and not being brand representative, not putting their best foot forward. Secondly, I know that the stock price of Zoom is blasted out of the roof right now. It's completely unsustainable, by the way, but it is a movement. There's a lot of people searching for that. So what I did is I published the video. And again, I'm going to share my screen with you as I narrate through this. So I took that video, published it, and here it is. Oops, just one moment. Where is my screen? Too many windows open. Note to self. All right, there it is. Oh, for the love of all things holy. I know I have it here. Okay. I'm supposed to be the whiz, but I'm not today. Let me do this again. All right. Mike's MacBook Pro. Oh, I know what it is. I was looking right at it. There. I got tricked. Okay. So here is the YouTube video, and you can see it's been seen almost 900 times as of right now. I just put it up a couple days ago, but I also took that and I put it on Facebook, and I did put up a little ad. So that got some traction, and I've had people posting it into multiple groups. Next, I turned it into a LinkedIn article, which is absolutely free. You can paste in videos. And what I've been paying attention to is who's been sharing it and connecting with them. I also uploaded the keynote to slideshare.net. It's just another format. Now, here's what's been happening as a result of this. I've been getting, again, great traction. People have been requesting and asking me to be on podcasts. So for you, what I'd like you to think about right now is, what is one piece of content that is timely and meaningful and relevant to the world right now inside of our context? And contextualization is really important. In other words, it cannot be obsolete. It can't be about doing a live event, for example. It's got to be a virtualized live event if it's something like that. And what's something that's general enough that it can get a lot of attention. So what we're doing with this video is we're also turning it into an article. It's going to be published in entrepreneur.com. It's also going to be published, a version of it, in Forbes online. So I've been writing for both of those. I've gotten requests, is it okay if I share this with my team? So I've actually been writing outbound emails to share and give away to their audiences and lists. All of those increase the views and the clicks. But I've also been requested recently to be an advisor to people who want to virtualize their businesses and also do more online live events. So think about that right now. And I'm really curious, if you've got some big ideas, go ahead and share it right now. Do you have a big idea? So again, I'm going to bring on Scott Mueller in a bit. Got an idea for him. Now, next, I'm curious, if you have a podcast, paste in the link to your podcast in chat. I'd like to know more about it. But if you have a podcast, know that that is a fantastic platform, especially right now. Podcast consumption has increased at a dramatic level. So I'm going to share with you a few of the results that I've been experiencing just since that article came out. Number one is distribution through multiple relationships. Genius Network and Strategic Coach are two groups that I'm in. Next, request to be a virtualization advisor. New client activity. I've been getting applications, interest as a result, and also podcast requests. And soon, I just talked to a publicist yesterday who thinks she can get me on national television. So again, right now, consumption of news and media is at an all-time high. And thank you for that. Catherine and Wayne. Hi, Dr. Wayne. Pascal and let's see. Good. Fantastic. Okay. Mary's on. Excellent. Excellent. So a lot of podcasters on here. Bottom line is, right now is the time to capitalize on the mass consumption that is occurring. And here are a couple notes. What I regard as being the new normal in terms of pivoting and virtualization. First of all, your office is a studio. And I'll give you a very brief tour of my studio right now. So I'm going to bring up another screen. And let me see here if I can bring that up. Actually, it looks like I'm not going to mess with it. I'm using Webinar Jam today, but what we'll do is we'll put in a video, which is a walkthrough of my current studio. And let me see if I've got this up. If not, okay, we'll make sure we paste that in, but I've got a complete step-by-step walkthrough of my studio. One of the things I've been telling every executive is, in our new normal now, build an office that is a studio. Be prepared to be able to create content on the fly. I don't do any written proposals anymore. They're all video proposals. I believe they're much more nuanced. They're easier and faster to create. They're easier and faster to consume, and they're very shareable. Next, content gets attention and opportunity. Now, it's always been this way, but now more than ever before is the time to differentiate yourself as an innovator, as a creator, and then positioning, packaging, and new offers. That's the next segment I'm going to share with you. But How are you going to virtualize and make that available? And also, less is more. I believe going after a cheap audience, a shallow and wide audience, is a fool's errand. One of the things that is going to be happening is there are a tremendous number of small businesses that are not going to survive because they weren't prepared for the massive virtualization. That sucks for people who weren't prepared, but it also means that there are going to be more and more opportunities for those who have pivoted and know how to operate inside of this new normal. And it also means that in order to reinvent yourself and do it quickly, honing down and getting to a point where you have a simple offer that's easy to understand, ideally higher ticket, so you can do fewer of them, earn more, and operate with less overhead and less complexity. Again, this is a no-brainer, but I believe right now, everyone I'm talking to who's got big problems had complex, shallow offers, and they were not prepared to virtualize. And here's another big one, which is always be the buyer. Operate with application only whenever possible. Now, I know that that's not reasonable or realistic for everyone here, but it is a new way to think about it. All right. So before I get into the larger ticket offers and the hot seats, I want to talk a little bit about impact and giving back. And where this came from is last weekend, we have some friends and we attend Burning Man together. Here's my homage to Burning Man. There we go, my Burning Man hat. But someone from our group reached out and said, hey, let's have a party. And we have a friend. His name is Shoebox Moses, DJ Shoebox Moses. He's got an amazing story. He was actually found in a shoebox in the Philippines and was an orphan and was raised. And he's an extremely talented guy. His name's Sammy, his real name. Anyway, so Sammy said, I'll just DJ from my home. And a bunch of us got together and we were dancing virtually. Well, as a result, someone said, hey, why don't we start doing DJ fundraisers and create parties where people can dance at their homes? All right. Well, that was kind of interesting. And what happened next is this started cascading and a whole bunch more requests came in. So what I'm going to share with you right now is, imagine if everyone who is in a Zoom meeting with you right now was dancing and you had great DJ music and you could be chatting and talking to each other at the same time. It might sound crazy, but it was a hell of a lot of fun. So here's what happened inside of a week. The first one is, and I'll share the screen. Actually, I'll share the offer. So we are doing a DJ dance party for my wife's foundation, the Just Like My Child Foundation, and they're raising money for Native Americans, the Great Sioux Nation. So really, there's huge needs there. They're in horrible shape. So we've got this dance party. A lot of people have donated their time and some resources. We even got a wine. It's let's see. I'm trying to think of the wine company. Someone will type it in if you see the link. Dry Farm Wines. There we go. It's a low alcohol, no additive wine company, but they're a sponsor for this thing. So they gave back. And this, by the way, is my wife, Vivian, dancing at our dance party. And my son was doing it too. He thought it was cool. And again, we did it on a small scale, but it extended into something big. And then we're doing another one, which is, check this out. I'll display it on screen. Jack Canfield, we call it Chicken Soup for the Quarantine Soul. All right. Another interesting thing, but that again is a fundraiser. So Jack Canfield said, yes, I'd absolutely like to do it. And that one's completely free. It's happening this Sunday, so you're invited. Okay. And the first one, you're invited to that too. It's a small donation, but everything goes to a great cause. So here's something else that happened as a result of this occurring. Because I've been sharing these links and talking about it, I didn't anticipate this, but I've been asked to also work with another organization that's raising money for waiters and waitresses who are out of work during this time with a whiskey company. And we're going to do a weekly, basically it's a drink at home event and fundraiser for the next 4 weeks. So again, the bottom line with all of this is, even if it's hard as hell right now, find a way to give back, and you'd be amazed at what kind of energetic return you get from this whole thing, and wonder into that. So, next up, premium offers. Let's talk about premium offers. So I'm curious again in chat if you'd let me know what are your premium offers that you are, if you have them, do you have a premium offer in your business, and what price is it, or what is the pricing of the offers that you make right now? I'd be super interested to hear that. So please share that right now. And I'm going to go through and give you a couple big ideas, and I'm going to tell you a quick story. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to give you a link so you'll be able to watch a more detailed version of this in the future. And it's called the 1-word offer and 2-word brand. And that is, there is a link on the screen right now that you can see, which is www.mrbz.com/OWO. And thank you, by the way, on the premium offers. So here's the backstory and the story behind this. Now, if many of you may know, I do a podcast with Dan Sullivan. It's called Capability Amplifier. And I had just come off the set of doing a television show called Elevator Pitch with Entrepreneur Magazine. And I had heard a lot of pitches, and I turned to Dan and I said, "Hey, Dan, what's the best pitch you've ever heard?" And Dan turned to me and he said, "Actually, I'm not going to answer that question, but instead I'm going to tell you the best offer I've ever heard. It's a 1-word offer." And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because one of the things that I'm always interested in is, how do you influence people? How do you get people to want to work with you in the shortest period of time with the fewest number of words? And he started out and he said, well, it's 48 BC. And it's the Romans have control of the world at that point. And the way the Romans grew is by conquering other nations. So they'd go out and they'd conquer, and they'd essentially absorb every part of their culture. And then the young boys would become Roman soldiers, and they'd continue that practice of conquering and bringing in other countries and lands and peoples. And at that time, being a Roman was about as good as things could get, because you had a shared currency, you had a shared language, you had a shared culture, you had roads, you had clean water. And at that point, if you had land, you had voting rights. And to live in a democracy at that point in time was amazing. But what had happened is Rome had been conquering a bunch of lands and a bunch of Germanic tribes. And those Germanic tribes had been fighting for Rome, but they hadn't been granted land. And if you were a Roman soldier and you fought hard, you would receive 40 acres of land. Again, if you had land, you had land rights. If you had land rights, you had voting rights. And if you had voting rights as a Roman citizen, things were about as good as things could get. So the Germanic tribes who hadn't been given their prize were angry, and they started marching towards Rome to raise a little hell. And at the last moment, Julius Caesar stood up and he shouted to this angry mob, and he said one word, and that one word was civitas, which meant citizenship. In other words, he granted the entire army citizenship at that moment. Now, the reason why this is important and relevant to you is, think about it. What kind of story can you share with a prospect, whether it's online, in a video, or in person, so they have that moment and they go, I want to be part of your organization, part of your experience. And this is a challenge. It really is tough to be a great storyteller and be able to put together a great pitch. But again, now more than ever before, with all the noise that's out there, you want a moment where someone understands who you are and what you do and why you do it in a way that it connects. And that's something I'm always on the lookout for. So, again, the net, and again, I'm just going to check in. So I see some great information. Donna, $3,500 a month. Blake, 25,000. Jason for 6,000. Dr. Steve, 10K. Jack, 5 to 20. So Brian, $1,500 per month. Fantastic. So again, clearly we've got some premium offers. So what I want to share with you right now are a couple of befores and afters. So the reason I'm going to share this with you is, to me, one of the most powerful ways to create a civitas moment is to tell a story of transformation, ideally someone you've worked with, in a way that the prospect can hear themselves as though they are the main character in a movie starring them. Because if they have that moment, they're going to have that civitas moment and say, "You're who I've been looking for." So I'm going to share two stories with you, and this is going to bring everything back together. Because if you recall, the way I started this today was I wanted to talk to you about virtualizing your business, making your Zoom meetings more effective, but also being able to create content that could be repurposed and reused and elevate you, position you, and be shareable, which is what that Zoom meeting example did. From here, how can you use that piece as a lead generator? And then how do you build and grow case studies, true life examples that get people to say, "Yes, I want you." Again, this is all about positioning and platform. So my objective is to share with you how I've been doing it successfully, getting people to raise their hands. And then after I'm done, I'm going to show you exactly how I've been enrolling clients into my own premium offer so you can model it in your business as well. So the first thing is, I'll begin. I've called the new business the Superpower Accelerator. That's the logo behind me. Why do we call it that? Well, I believe that we all have the equivalent of God-given abilities, our own superpowers. And if you operate in your zone of genius and can elevate and amplify that, or have it elevated and amplified, you're going to feel super happy every day that when you go to work or you do what you do, but also you'll have your unique skills. The challenge is a lot of people go through their lives and they never figure out either how to hone that superpower and monetize it or elevate it in a way that's meaningful to other people. And that is a grand skill set. So I'll tell you a quick story. This is a guy that I've been working with. His name's Charlie Epstein, my team and I. And I met him at Abundance 360. Now, he is a 401k coach, okay, which may not sound interesting. In fact, my initial impression is, oh my God, another boring white guy in the financial services industry. But after I got to know Charlie, I found out he's actually a really interesting and funny guy. And he said, "Hey, we had to work together." And I threw some ideas back and forth, and none of them really gelled until he finally told me, "Hey, I used to do stand-up comedy, and I also had a one-man off-Broadway show that never really got off the ground, but it was a passion of mine." And I said, "Wait a minute, I've got an idea." So what I did is I made a couple phone calls and came back to him. And and I said, "Hey, I've got this idea. You can come to my beach condo in La Jolla, California, and stay there, and I'll put together a team of 3 comedians, and we will create a one-man show for you. The ultimate civitas moment, the ultimate way to enroll new clients into your business." And he said, "I'm ready to sign up." So we got together, and one of the things I always do is I say, "What is your superpower? What is your grand vision?" And he said, "What is my ministry?" And he said, "I want to end suffering and misery from money matters and ease people's pain, ring people's bell, have more fun and laugh and get more people to peace through laughter." So this is the team. There was one of them is virtual, one of the comedians, but the two guys on the right are professional comedians who have television experience. So we all sat around and we captured knowledge and wisdom and drafted it, took a lot of notes. And ultimately, our goal was to make money funny, but we created a one-man show we call Yield of Dreams. So in one day, we pulled out all of his wisdom and knowledge and know-how and put together this one-man show and basically presented or performed his show to him. Okay. And our goal is to debunk the myths about money. Here were the top 5. We created a brand called Yield of Dreams, which we also trademarked. It's Yield of Dreams Paychecks for Life. We're even doing a documentary at the original Field of Dreams for marketing this thing. And there's Charlie. And then we did a little toast. And what's important about this story in the end is I'm sharing this with you right now because all of this whole process of what we call Vision Day has historically been a live in-person experience. So one of the ways that I've been pivoting, my team and I, is by doing this remotely now. Okay, so that of course is the obvious thing, which of course we can use all this technology to do it. But here's the next thing that we do as a value add is we take the new vision of the future, do an interview, okay, and then take that interview and turn it into an article, which we publish on entrepreneur.com. And this just came out this Sunday. So we published this article called Making Money Funny with Charlie Epstein's Yield of Dreams one-man show. This is here to help get more attention and to him, and he's also raising money for the show. Well, it got syndicated and picked up in the hour. It also got picked up in Apple's news app this weekend. And again, he can use this to get more media, get more attention, raise money, and he's going to be getting sponsorships from major money organizations. And here's the next big idea. This is what we call a category of one. In our noisy environment right now, you've got to find a way to stand out and be unique. So you're not just another, in his case, he can't be just another financial advisor. He is the only financial advisor in the world that we know of with a one-man show. Okay. And it's called Field of Dreams. Who else has that? Again, we leveraged and took advantage of his unique superpower. So, good. So here's the other byproduct that happened as a result of this. When you search for Charlie Epstein, there you can see the articles show up. He's getting huge link love, and that ties him back again to the Entrepreneur article. So lots of visibility. And in my opinion, right now, one of the most important things you can do for your business, especially as you are in this state of hibernation, we can call it, is how are you going to emerge as the new you? What new capabilities do you need to add to your skill set? And what kind of visibility do you need to get? What kind of a story do you need to craft so you can connect with more people and amplify your superpower? So I'm curious inside chat right now, I'd love to know what capability do you think you need to add, new skill set or resource do you need right now to elevate you and your brand and your business? And in just a moment, I'm going to bring on Scott again. So get prepared, Scott. I hope you're ready. I'm going to have to find you in chat, and I'm going to share one more case study as we get prepared. And I'll bring on Scott and do a couple of hot seats and be able to answer your questions. So post them in. Wayne just said webinars. And I agree. Got to do webinars. By the way, you already know this. I'm using Webinar Jam. Still a great tool. There's a couple other tools that I'm a big fan of. So let me do one more case study with someone that I met. If you can see in the background, I've got some, there's dolphins moving around. This is a guy, his name's Justin Donald. I met him in Fiji this past year. And Justin had a really interesting story. 4 years ago, he had a job. And in 21 months, he started doing something, a certain type of investing, and he had accumulated a net worth of over $10 million. And over the next 4 years, another 10 million. And since then, it's grown even more. He has invested uniquely in about 52 different types of investments. And after listening to him, I was blown away with this story. And I started asking him, so how do you do this? What's your unique ability? And again, we did this thing. We call it Vision Day, brought him in down at the beach. We pulled out what we called the 10 commandments of how he thinks, and also figured out what are his rules of thinking. Pulled all this out of his brain, and we decided to call him a lifestyle investor. Believe it or not, that hadn't been trademarked, and we were able to buy the domain lifestyleinvestor.com and create a brand for him. Here you can see the book that's coming out, The Lifestyle Investor, and the subtitle is The 10 Commandments of Cash Flow Investing for Passive Income and Financial Freedom. Just working with him, and here's a couple other book covers, I've been blown away with how he thinks. So much so that, again, same thing, interviewed him, published him, and a day after his article came out in Entrepreneur Magazine, which, by the way, was cited as Justin Donald as the investment world's new Warren Buffett. This is the video. We also created a 6-part product on the 10 commandments of lifestyle investing. But all of these he can now use to go out and get new clients. Okay, one great article. That one article generated 22 leads in 24 hours. And the net is actually made a referral to him. One of the things that I've been doing is everyone I work with, I'm doing as much as I can to provide referrals and make introductions. But Justin's offer is $250,000 to work with him. Super high-end, super premium. So those are the case studies. And what I want to do right now is answer a few questions and then get Scott Miller ready to come on. And we're going to do a hot seat as well. So now I just have to find him in chat. And this is interesting. Come on. Let me find you. If Scott, if you do me a favor, there you are. You're here. Good. I'm going to bring you up and invite as presenter. There you are. And as soon as you show up, I'll bring you on. In the meantime, I'm going to answer a couple questions. Boobity boo, boobity boo. Okay. I guess as soon as you pop up, I can't remember how to do this. Here I see you there. Okay. I'm here. Good. All I have to do is see if I can bring you on. Broadcast comment, invite as presenter. There you are. I think all you need to do is bring yourself up, sir, and then I'll be able to see you and add you. In the meantime, next level, people on both ends. Great. Restaurant owner. Good. I'm just looking at some chat and some Q&A. So I'm going to go to questions. Any questions that you've published. All right, Scott. Hopefully I'll be able to get you here. There you are. Excellent. Well, that was easy. Almost easy. You just have to turn on your microphone. Oh, I know what's going on. He had to test his equipment out. So here's a, there you are. Talk to me, baby.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
My friend. Good.
Great.
This is working.
I'm here in isolation. You can tell as a mortician, I'm really dressed down for isolation here.
I think you're perfect. So, yeah, this would be great. So if you can tell me, all or tell the audience rather, give them a little commercial on who you are and what you do. You already said mortician, but yeah, just share that.
Okay, I'm a second generation. I'm a second generation funeral director. I own 2 funeral homes here in the Twin Cities in St. Paul, Minnesota. I have bought it from my parents. I sold it to the big multinational company, and I bought it back again in 2005. And I didn't buy it back to continue doing the same old thing. I bought it back to try and do something different. It is surprising how all your bad habits kind of overtake you and you go back to the same old thing. But then I got into the Mike Koenig's world and wrote a book as a result of it. And that was a big help. And have my stepdaughter who's watching from her home as well. She's working with me. And the last 3 or 4 years, we've been working on a product called Grief Compass, which is our way to help people navigate that first year after death. And it's a difference maker in us because I think there are a lot of funeral homes that just do what they do, yep, and that's it. But we've got this ability to kind of care for the family for the year after. And I think especially now, this may be a really relevant time to make that more prominent.
I agree. That was that's what happened today. I was talking to Vivian, and let me just give you a little framework for what popped up and how you can leverage some of the storytelling that I've been talking about today. Because I actually went and tweaked my presentation today with you in mind to get to this point. So Vivian was chatting with a friend of ours who personally has had some people who have passed as a result of the virus. And right now, the volumes are unprecedented. And there's some people who can't attend funerals or memorials in person because it's so dangerous. And her idea was to do a large scale mass memorial service. And Vivian also had a conversation with Mary Morrissey today. You know who Mary Morrissey is?
It's familiar.
She's an amazing woman who she's high visibility. At one point, she actually ran a church, and she said, well, the biggest challenge, she said, there's actually a bigger demand for people on how to create a virtual memorial because some people don't know how to put one together that's meaningful. And so I said, well, I know Scott and I are going to be chatting in just a moment. And the idea here is this. What if you position yourself right now as a virtual memorial expert and authority, and you can go out, getting you media attention will be easy as hell. And I know that you and I could brainstorm, do the equivalent of a vision day to come up with all the messaging, stories, and content. We could easily do an interview, get you in entrepreneur, and position this not only as a service, but also the fact that you're redefining the memorial industry and what this means. And it's a virtual industry suddenly. And being able to assemble and put together rooms, there'd be training, it'd be how to put together a meaningful memorial and do this remotely. I think this thing could take off like wildfire. And you're experienced, you're funny, you're interesting, you've got the it factor. And this is something that you could put together a virtual team relatively rapidly as well and do the packaging. So how's that resonate for you? What's punch some holes in it?
All right. So Taylor and I have been talking the last, 2 weeks ago during these first 2 weeks, because we're in isolation here in Minnesota and we can't let anybody gather except for 10 people out of the cemetery and all that. And it's creating a lot of angst for a lot of people. And 2 weeks ago, my mindset was in, oh my God, what's this going to do to my business?
Yeah, of course.
It certainly cut our revenue and everything that everybody's going through. This past weekend, I started to think, okay, how do we lean into this? Because this is obviously the time. This is time to really pour it on and to make a difference. So Taylor and I kind of decided that we would make the first 8 weeks of Grief Compass free to everybody. and we have a trial offer out there. So the first 8 weeks are free, and then we're putting together some so people continue in that, they can join Grief Compass and part of. That's one of the ideas. But this idea of the virtual thing, certainly there isn't any business that isn't going to be changed completely as a result of what we're going through right now, and mine as well. I don't think, nor do I think that you think it's going to, that a virtual presence will ever replace that personal presence, but it's a perfect way to distinguish myself right now. I agree.
Yep. Exactly. I completely do. And we're getting some chat. So Dwight asks, what's the name of your funeral service? Just so we can put that in chat.
So it's MuellerMemorial.com or Mueller Memorial. Yep.
Great. So let's make sure someone types that in chat. And how about,
and Mike, if you don't mind, if anybody on the call is looking for a little bit of extra help, that they're going through any grief situation, they really can go to the trial.griefcompass.com.
Okay.
And take advantage of that.
Great. We'll put that in chat as well. Okay. So, yeah, if you want to have a little more of a conversation when we're done, we can just do a quick Zoom and chit chat about what this would look like. But I think, again, leveraging what you have, positioning Grief Compass now is a great time to get the word out. And I've got a publicist that I'm working with right now who's really good at getting television. And I think you could do national television very, very quickly and just get brought on as an expert, a grief expert. I've got another good friend who's been in that space for a long, long time. So what do you think of that? I think it's
amazing. I hadn't thought about that. And you know, one of these things that a situation like this does, it tends to kind of narrow your focus and to focus on, okay, what do I have to take care of today? And you don't, all those plans that you had for the year and for the quarter and all that kind of go out the window. And so I appreciate, I just knew that when you were doing this, I thought this is something I got to be part of, because you are always a big picture guy. You're always a positive guy. And I'm grateful that you and Vivian are able to talk about funerals at the breakfast table.
Yeah, well, it's you know, part of the way this is touching us. I've got, my dad is in memory care right now, late stage Alzheimer's. Just, he actually can't talk now. So that's, and then her mother's 87 in an apartment by herself in New York City. Yeah. And you know, if something were to happen, we can't go. So this is a conversation, and we can either look at it and moan and groan about it, or just accept the reality and pay attention to how we think about this, the meaning we give it, how we interpret it, and say, how can we turn this into an opportunity to serve and create impact? Because moaning and groaning and whining is not going to fix a damn thing. So I'd rather be part of the solution.
I agree.
So good. Well, man, I really appreciate you. And I'll let you go. And then I think we'll bring on a couple more hot seats in the meantime, but I'll follow up with you and we can have a conversation and see if there's something I can do to help accelerate this for you.
Thanks, Mike. I really appreciate it.
I love who you are. And I saw Taylor in chat. Hi, Taylor. I love you too. And okay, man, I'll talk to you in a bit.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. Good deal. So we've got a couple more folks here that we can bring on. And so Jason and I have been talking, actually. He's got a charity. I don't know if he's on. So Jason, Matt, Matthew, Karam, or Mike Noon, if you want to pop up, you are absolutely welcome to join me. And all I got to do is, Lori, if you can invite them in. I don't know if you can right click on them, but just actually what you can do is say hi, either Mike Noon, Matthew Karam, Jason Ledlow. I'll bring you on. You're a few people that we looked at for possible hot seats. So if you're here, just raise your hand, say something in chat. There's Matt Karam. So I'm going to invite you, and Jason is here as well. Great. What you can do is I'll invite you to come in, and I'll actually invite both of you because you'll have to set up your equipment, and just join yourself when you can. We can do a 3-way, and we'll just go round and round. And in the meantime, I'm going to answer a few of your questions that have popped up. Hi, Summerbach. I love you. And thank you for being here, Heidi. Pascal asked, what webcam do I recommend? There are a couple that are good. The best one available today is the Logitech Brio. If you can find them, just know that ever since all this happened, webcams are hard to find. Logitech Brio, someone can pop that in, put it in chat. Also, there is an app that I put in Team. I put it in Slack today. It is a tool that does, here it is. It's an app that'll turn an iPhone into a webcam. I believe there's a version for Windows as well. I just put that in chat. Okay. And Matthew just joined me. And then I also have, if you use I put it in the 25 ways in the Zoom thing. There's a device you can get from Elgato. Let me see if I have it here. It's a little gadget that converts HDMI into USB, and it'll let you hook up a DSLR camera. Really good looking. So I highly recommend that as well. All right. So Matthew, let's begin with you. Can you give me a little audio so I can just make sure it's on and working? I cannot hear you, unfortunately. So your audio is not working.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Good deal. Awesome. So you run a martial arts school, and why don't you give your brief commercial? Tell us, first of all, what type of business you have, sure, and what it has been doing, and then what the big challenge is, and what your outcome is. So if you could wave a magic wand, and you and I were here a year from now, what needs to happen for you to feel happy with your progress?
Awesome. To answer your first question, my father started our school in 1975. So we've been teaching martial arts for a long time. We're a community staple. It's more of a mission and a passion that we have. We focus on children, and we teach transferable life skills. So our goal is to make sure we do a 12-month character development program where they have weekly homework assignments, and it's those life skills that parents want for their children. And so martial arts is really, for us, just the vehicle that we use to convey those skills. Our biggest challenge now is we have a stay-at-home order in Ohio that does not allow anyone to come. And even after that point, we're not going to be allowed to gather more than 10 people. And in a traditional martial arts method, we teach people hands-on, one-on-one. So our biggest struggle is, how do we do that? So if I was to answer your question 1 year from now, that we would like to have 500 students in a virtual community that all support each other and train and grow their development so they're more successful people in life.
Right on. Good. So you want me to give you a couple ideas?
I would love them, please. Thank you.
All right. So the one thing that I would do is use the example I gave of the 25 ways, the Zoom meetings. So right now, one thing that we know with absolute certainty is you've got a lot of kids at home who can't go to school. You got a lot of parents who are frustrated. And boy, there's going to be, I've heard this. It doesn't happen to us. We actually like our kid. But I've heard about parents talking about how much they hate their children, and their parents, or the children hate the parents. There's going to be a lot of divorces as a result of what's going on. No question about that. You're either going to increase or decrease. But the reason I suggest that is a talking point. It's a frame of reference. It's how to use martial arts to increase the depth and connection of your family. And how to, I do a virtual martial arts mini course, and do like a 5-day challenge or a 7-day challenge, and put that out. And, just start doing virtual webinars, training webinars. And I'll give you an example of something that I participated in yesterday with my good friend, Ed Rush. Ed started out, he was going to do 10 straight days, actually 21 days, where he's going to go 1 hour a day and broadcast live. Now he's using an app, and we can put this in chat. It's called StreamYard. Okay. And I'm going to show the screen right now so you can see this, but it is like right now we're using Webinar Jam. This is StreamYard. Now you can do professional live streaming, and with it, you can bring in multiple guests to chat and do interviews. It'll broadcast to Facebook Live. It'll go to YouTube Live, Twitter, which is Periscope, and to Twitch. And you can go up to 5 different locations at once. And also, it's supposed to start supporting LinkedIn if you have LinkedIn streaming. And you can put graphics and logos. I mean, it's really, really simple, and it's cheap as well. Basically, they've got a free version that lets you bring up to 6 on-screen participants and screen sharing. It's branded, okay? And they do have some limits. For $20 a month, you can stream to 2 places, multi-stream at once. And then for $40 a month, you can go to 5 locations. I think it's a great deal. It's what I would use if I wanted to broadcast to as many places as possible, because that's what you need right now. Is you need to be able to broadcast to as many people as possible, get the word out, and create a mini toolkit. And if I were working with you right now, if I were doing the equivalent of Vision Day, I would work on what I call your Civitas story, okay, which is your one-word offer, how to say in the fewest number of words. I would craft your message to the media, and I'd publish you an entrepreneur. So I'd create the article and the interview based upon the future-paced new version of your organization. And do you pronounce it Karam or Karam?
Karam, yes. Karam. R-U-M, even though it's Karam. Not spelled that way.
Got it. And then craft the offers, because what you've got to do is you've got to get out there and get momentum. And then you've got to get to the point where people are actually going to invest money. And the best model I've seen right now that really, really works is Peloton. Peloton has the best thing going. And I'm going to show you something else. Now, this is going to get a little bit nerdy, and I'll put this link in chat for everyone. There is an application platform called Streamlabs. Okay. It is free, and they've got ways to gamify streams. Gamers use this thing. Oh. Okay. So it's got integrated chat, all kinds of widgets. It also broadcasts to Twitch and YouTube and Facebook. And, being able to meet kids where they are is important, but it's got alerts. So it'd be possible to gamify the streams. I'd start out simple at first, but then I'd look to the Peloton model after testing this out a little bit. And the way to gain traction is, and this is the question I have for you, do you have relationships with any mainstream martial artists or any athletes?
Some, like Chris Casamassa, and a few others. Yes, Stephen Oliver, and some others that have large networks.
Great. That's what's important, because you need to be able to set them up so they share the content. And then I'd interview them and bring them on, and I'd do a show for kids and a show for parents, right? Because your messaging is going to be a little bit different, right?
Oh, it is. Could I pick your brain on one matter?
Yep.
We've had a difficult time with engagement at home with children.
Yep.
Mom and dad say when class comes and we get them their uniform, when we drive there, their mindset changes and they're ready for class. But at home, engagement's hard. So one of the things I thought of trying to do, what I wanted to do and I haven't known how to do it, was I want to do a free fitness challenge for all the kids that are at home, get some sponsors, and then almost do a competition day at the very end of this when everyone emerges. I'd love to do it on a state level or national level where everybody, almost like the President's Challenge, right? Where you can do your own push-ups at home, record yourself, put your accomplishments online to get that engagement, get that accountability. Then you do sit-ups and other things. We outline the rules of engagement, make it a fun activity, and that way when everyone emerges, they're healthier and stronger. How do I do that?
Yeah. The net is you've got to speak. First of all, you got to sell two audiences. You got to sell the kids, you got to sell the parents. And that is the Civitas moment, right? You've got to equip the parents with a story that the kids will buy into. And right off the top of my head, I don't necessarily know that, but here's what I do to figure that out. I always interview my best clients and my best customers, and I listen very carefully to the words they say. And I take really detailed notes, and I look for the triggers, and I interview them. So, for example, I'm doing a project right now for Strategic Coach and creating an enrollment offer. And the enrollment offer I'm doing for them is, people to join Strategic Coach. So I'm going out to all the best clients and customers they've ever had. I'm asking them what the benefits are, and then I'm interviewing the spouses and the children about the benefits. Okay. Because who cares what the business owner says? So I've got to craft an offer that's meaningful, in your case, for the kids, and I've got to craft a meaningful offer for the parents as well. Both are different, but I've got to craft an offer that can be, the parent can say to the kid, or give them a video to watch where the kid goes, hell yeah, I want that. Okay. Right. So that's where the magic is. And it does take some work, but it really comes down to having conversations. And like, I got a 17-year-old right now who's with us, and he spends most of his days, because he's in spring break on top of all this, they stopped school, but he's bored as hell. He can't see his friends. He's playing video games with them in Discord. And I'm like, kid, why aren't you increasing your capabilities, your skill sets, starting a business and making money, right? I'll pay you. But motivating a kid isn't easy. And so the only way to get there is by interviewing probably a dozen or so parents and talking to your kids, and get the messaging from them and be able to reflect it back.
Gotcha.
So if I were working with you, if you're interested in having that conversation, and I'll put this in for everyone right now, it's paidforlife.com/virtual vision day, I believe. I'm going to check that out and make sure the link works. I tested it out beforehand. Virtual vision day. Let me see here. Or MikeKoenigs.com. Let me try that. Just a second. Boo. All right, give me a moment here. Yeah, there it is. I'll put it up for everyone to, I'll put it in chat, and my team can do it too. But I've got an application to work with me, and also put that up on the screen. It should work. My team will have to test it and make sure it's working. But there. Okay, there it is. Virtual Vision Day. Yep. And well, usually it works. Team, I'll let you figure that out and paste it in. But the net is, if you want to have this conversation, we could go deep, and I know I could build it with you and for you over the, inside of 48 hours, we could make some major progress. And awesome. That's what my team and I are doing. So you want to have that conversation? Should I follow up with you?
Yeah, please. I would love to hear your, yes. That'd
Okay,
be
good.
awesome. Thank you.
So I'll make sure that Lori reaches out with a link, and
Yeah.
we can go down the path.
I would love to, Mike. Thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. See you, Matt.
Yep.
Okay.
See ya.
And now I'll bring up Jason. Jason, are you up in here? There you are, my friend. Hi.
Hey, brother. What's up?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Mm-hmm. Well, for everyone here, why don't you give them your commercial? And who are you? What do you do? And if you and I were together 1 year from today, what needs to happen for you to feel happy with your progress?
So my name's Jason Ledlow. I own a company called Impact Giving Solutions, and we help nonprofits raise more money and get fully funded. We do that in 3 different ways. One is by helping them with their benefits and on their events, fundraising. We do everything from consulting, providing product, trips and things that they can turn around and sell consign-wise to make money with. And also, I'm a world-class auctioneer, so I've been doing that for about 27 years. Now, we really try not to push that piece of it because there's only one of me in a lot of events. The other thing that we do is we have a product called Giving by Text, and it is an impact sharing or a donor stewardship tool that nonprofits can use to engage with all their donors. It's called Donor Link. We take all their current donors, upload them in the system, compliantly opt them in, and they can start communicating by text.
Got it. Okay.
And so 1 year from now, I'd like to have 500 clients on the Giving by Text platform and doing 25 to 30 events at either at 6,000 or higher premium.
Got it. And let me know who your ideal client is again.
So medium size nonprofits in the budget where anywhere from annual budget $250 to $5 million is really where it works.
Mm-hmm.
I can have the most impact on them.
Got it. And so give me an example. Can you tell me a story, a case study example of one of the clients?
So here's a great example. So there's a nonprofit down in Frisco, Texas, Amika Rockwall, a bunch of ladies that get together and raise money for kids there in Rockwall, Texas. The most that they had ever done for their event it's really a social group, but most that they'd ever raised was $75,000 at their event. Mm-hmm. The first year I got engaged with them, we grossed $200,000. The reason we were able to do that because we did 3 things, which IGS stands for Impact Giving Solutions, but also investors. We looked at who their donors were, how they could give, and how we could engage them better. Number 2, we looked at their giving opportunities. They had the first year I did it, when we were able to make that big increase, they still had like 15 different times they were asking people for money. Really, really donor fatigue. So we cut that down to 5 giving opportunities is the maximum. And then lastly was showtime. We realigned their show, how they were going to do, set their timeline, and kept their fundraising in a really, because it's a bunch of people that want to show up and party. We want them to do that, but we want to get the fundraising done in what we call the golden hour.
Okay.
And so we did that the first year. The second year we did it, we took them to 300,000. So we pushed it on up another, created significant more value.
Yep. And have you gotten testimonials from your clients? Do you have video testimonials?
I don't have video testimonials. I have them, and we're starting to reach out to get video. I see the opportunity here, especially right now, to get that out there.
Okay, good. So I think right now, again, there's think of this on 2 levels. And were you here for the whole thing where I showed like my Zoom video and I talked about how I'm using and leveraging it? And we were talking yesterday anyway.
Yeah.
So I think the secret to growing this right now is, again, crafting what I've been calling that civitas moment. And you've got the now opportunity, and then you've got the future opportunity, which is while we're all contained and doing virtual fundraising, kind of like what we're doing with the whiskey project. That'll be a great prototype that you'll be able to replicate.
Oh, yeah.
And packaging that. And so there's a media story to frame. And then there's the longer term story, which is your extended business. And I think right now, what I would do is go out to your past clients. And first of all, I would start doing, I borrowed this from Dan Sullivan in Strategic Coach. It's called the DOS conversation. So anytime I want to bring and create new business, I pull out my mobile phone and I make a quick video, and it would be something like this. I would say, hey, Jason, it's Mike. I was thinking about you, and I have a few ideas that will help you raise some more money for your blah, blah, blah. If you have a couple of moments, just text me back and I'll send you a link so we can get on a quick Zoom call together. Boom. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'll make about 20 of those. I call this strategy money phone, by the way. It's a book I wrote. And I'll send that out and then get bookings, which is all automated. And then I'll get on and I'll just ask the DOS question, which is, what dangers are you experiencing right now? What opportunities do you see? And what strengths do you have that you can leverage? And I also ask them that other question, which is, if you and I were here a year from now, what needs to happen for you to feel happy with your progress? And really, if I know I can make a difference, they're in. Okay. And then I just give them an offer. So that's simple. And I don't do any written proposals anymore. If someone says, well, will you send me a written proposal? That is a quick way of saying, I don't know. I don't see the value, and I want to just string you along. Yeah. And it'll be like, you know what? No written proposal, no check, no written proposal. I'm done. Don't do them anymore. This is my proposal right now. That's it. Mm-hmm. So don't let anyone jerk you around, because that's jerking around. So, and then I just put together a package, and in the meantime, I would start by reaching out to your past customers and educate them on telling their version of the story working with you and the benefits they had. So you've got testimonials and case studies. So you know how I shared my story of Charlie, I shared my story about Justin. Every time I work on a project now, in the back of my head, I want to craft a movie that the client can see themselves navigating through and say, I'm just like that. So like, even if I were working with you, I would craft that perfect story. And right now, so that to me would be it. If I were doing Vision Day, virtual Vision Day with you, I would craft the messaging, the story, figure out who your top clients are that you've worked with in the past to reignite and reactivate, and then how to craft a media story that could be told and repeated and shared, and then crafting that perfect offer that is joyful to provide and produce, and for you, and it's something that will be fun for them as well.
Great.
Does that help?
Yeah, that's real helpful. Yeah. I actually saw your money phone video, and I loved it, because that was a way to, just to reach out, connect. And I thought that was fantastic. So really doing that. I've got another quick question for you. So because we're in this world right now, of everybody doing one of the things with all my nonprofits, and I just yesterday connected with a local bank in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they're going to sponsor, they have about 250 nonprofits that they bank for. And so they wanted to do something to give back. So they're actually going to pay for my Giving by Text service for anybody that wants to for the first 60 days. And so, which was, phenomenal for us. How can I take that and leverage that specific thing, like across the platforms, to say, this is what we're doing? What's a way I can really use that to pump it out there? The
Giving by Text?
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you charge for that? What's the fee?
Starts at $45 a month. Goes to simple stuff is $45 to $350, depending on how big the organization is, how many texts they have.
Great. And the net is, with that, someone can respond to the text, click a button, and pay money, right?
Yes.
And
they can say, like right now, if for nonprofits right now, everybody that I work with, if they're not in the primary needs, if they're not providing, food, shelter, clothing, they just still need to be sharing impact and giving great examples to keep themselves in front of them. So the ones that I have that are already enrolled in Giving by Text, they're sending out messages about every 10 days. They send it something to their entire donor base to say, hey, we just wanted to say, like, there's a group that does fine arts here, and they sponsor all the arts in schools for in Edmond, Oklahoma. And they send out stuff. Hey, we've got a video here of some fun activities that you can have with your kids. Just providing value, providing stuff, really trying to share that impact continuously. If they are providing primary needs, well, then they can reach out to say, hey, we've got a special need right now. Go here, click here, you can sponsor. And it also helps them to recruit recurring revenue, which is the big piece that we're trying to push our nonprofits to.
Yep. Again, the short answer is what you need is your own Civitas story, a 3-minute or less short video describing what it is, get some good testimonials, and show an ROI. And I assume you've got some case studies about how
Yes,
this thing makes.
Absolutely.
That's crafting the story. It usually takes me about a half a day to a day to craft that story and basically perform it. And usually what I do, like if I were setting this up, I think of it in terms of a media story. So if you and I were going to craft this, we'd come up with the story, what the benefits are, a couple of mini case studies, and translate it into an interview that would be interesting for the masses to watch. And that's how I do these entrepreneur interviews, for example. I always find a great hook, craft the story, we perform the interview, and then it gets translated into an article that is shareable and distributable. Because think about it like this. If you could reach out to a couple thousand people on LinkedIn and say, if you want to meet me, check out this article in Entrepreneur Magazine, and it'll describe who I am and what I do. So you're elevated, you're positioned, and you're packaged, and there's basically an embedded call to action in there.
Okay,
Make
great.
sense?
That makes perfect sense.
I think getting some media and an interview together is the secret. And if you want to have that conversation, I can get my Virtual Vision Day team on it.
All right, let's set it up.
Okay, cool. I'll follow up with you and get you. We'll just have a quick conversation and talk about what happens next. Cool?
That'd be fantastic, man.
All right. Well, peace. And I know we're going to be talking in a few days anyway.
Yeah, we sure will. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, brother. Cheers.
You got it. Yep. Bye, Jason. All right. So here's what I want to do. If you've got some last moment questions, we're going to start wrapping up today. And we did go longer than I expected, but hopefully you got some value out of this. I do want to encourage you to click on the link. There is a link that you can go to on the screen right now to apply for Virtual Vision Day. If you'd like to do this with me, the big picture is you've kind of seen it. And you'll also witness how my enrollment process works, which I'll actually bring up that screen right now and actually show you what the survey looks like, so you can see it for yourself. And let's see here. Okay. I've got to find my own darn link here. There it is. Virtual Vision Day survey. I'll put that in chat so you can check it out. And then and then I'll also display the screen. But my enrollment process is super easy. So when someone meets me and says, hey, Mike, what would it take to work together? I simply send them this link, and on it are some case studies. They're like what I shared with you today. And then when you go to the next page, you basically do a fill in the blanks. And I ask some real basic questions that are like, what's the number one reason you want to experience the Vision Day? If you could wave a magic wand, and what needs to happen? Contact information, and a little bit more about your business. And when it's done, I take a $500 non-refundable deposit, which basically means it's a skin in the game confirmation. So if someone isn't willing to invest $500 to have a conversation, I know they're not serious, and it filters out the time wasters. And it also, again, is a application process. I don't just take anyone, and I encourage you to do the same thing. But for from that point forward, we have a simple conversation. I make sure I can deliver results. And then there's the investment beyond that. So my advice to you is, you actually witnessed it today in doing some conversations. That's basically what I do. I ask some questions. I make sure that this is a right fit, that I know I can do something, make sure energetically we're a match. And then it's a confirmation. And if you scale this into having salespeople, that's what you teach them to do. So for example, Marisa, who's on chat today, she does these conversations, and they're just simple enrollment conversations. And so if you think about it right now, if I had any piece of advice for you on how you can build and grow and pivot and virtualize your business right now, craft a great offer that you can deliver virtually, create some content that gets you attention and starts a conversation, and get some media so you're positioned as an authority and an expert. Craft that civitas moment, which is the shortest story for someone to raise their hand and say, let's work together. And then an enrollment form. It can be a Google form or a SurveyMonkey, and you can take a PayPal deposit at the end of it. Now, again, what I'm describing to you is a consultant-based approach, but simplicity is key here. And once you've got some conversations going on, you can always expand and grow it as well. So, all right. One question that popped up here is, what kind of shades am I wearing? I wear these to filter out the light in my studio. It reduces eye fatigue considerably. And so anytime I'm on camera or doing a webinar, and they're called blue blockers, and there's a couple of varieties or brands. One of them is Dave Asprey's brand, which is Night Walkers, or Day Walkers rather, Day Walker. And then there's Swanic is another one. You can just search for them on Amazon, type in blue blockers, and there's a variety of brands. This one here is kind of a generic brand that I got a while ago. And it's a no name because I just needed an extra set. But I've got some that have magnification. Highly recommend them. They're great for video. Okay, and I'll answer a couple more questions. Brian asked about microphones. This is a Shure SM7B. It is a broadcast microphone that I'm running into a Rodecaster Pro. If you look on my YouTube channel, there is a studio walkthrough video, and I actually talk about the equipment. I go through it step by step. You can see all of them. This microphone was used by Michael Jackson to sing the Thriller album. You also see it on the Joe Rogan podcast. They look cool. They sound great, and very, very high quality. And I think moving forward, I'm going to just leave it at this. Right now, heroes are being created, fortunes will be made, and there's an awesome time to serve and provide impact in the world. And I hope you take this opportunity to make a big difference, and also use this time to connect deeply with yourself, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and your family as well. And appreciate every day that you're on this planet. You matter. I appreciate you very much. I really appreciate the fact that you took time out of your busy day to spend with me today. And I hope you got some value out of it too. And make sure to subscribe to my podcast and YouTube channel when you have an opportunity to. And share the content. If there's anything that you've learned from here that you'd like, you will be getting a replay link as well, so you can watch the content later or share it with people you know. So on behalf of myself and my team, Nikki, Lori, Marisa, Alex, Charleston, thank you. And I'm looking forward to another opportunity to spend together. Bye-bye.